Hello everyone, welcome back. We have been finished. We have finished with our Python beginner session in our last video. In case you haven't seen those videos, there is a link in the description box. That's the link of the playlist of all the videos that I have uploaded. In the beginner session, I have explained the basics of Python. How to define that, how to use them. So, please go through that. If you know the basics, then this is the right to start with, right video. If you haven't done anything in Python, then I would recommend you to go through with the basics first, then come to here. If you like my video, please press the like button and subscribe it, and if you have any confusion, any doubt about previous video or this video, please write in the comment box. There is also a GitHub repository link in the description box in which there is all the lessons exercise that we did in the video is there. So please practice those things. If you need any exercise to practice more, please let me know in the comment box and I'll provide you exercises. So now today we are going to learn comprehension. What is comprehension? So comprehension is a shorter version of syntax. So what is shorter version? What kind of shorter version is that? This comprehension we used on sequence. So if you remember what we learned, that to iterate each value from sequence, we have to run for loop, because that loop iterate each value, each item from the sequence, and then show it for you, and then you do calculations on that. So comprehension, and for that for loop basically you use 3-4 line of code. So comprehension we use as a substitute of for loop, and that 3-4 line code becomes 1 line code. So that makes your code shorter. So that's why we say it's a shorter version syntax as a substitute for loop. Because we use sequence, not one but many type of sequence in Python, we use different types of comprehensions as well. So we use list comprehension, dictionary comprehension, set comprehension. So first we'll talk about list comprehension. So when why we use these comprehension, basically what it does, it takes a sequence item or each value and then put it in a next sequence. So basically it creates a new sequence from the existing sequence. So here, compare list in the syntax, if you see comprehension list, that is a variable. What it is doing, it is taking each item that is in the before list, existing list, and then it is checking if the condition is this, if you have mentioned any condition, and then it is the variable or that value or each item that we are iterating from the list, it is passing in this variable comprehension list. So it is creating a list from an existing list. For example, here we are creating just a normal list that we have done before with the range function. So here we got a list that has 5 values: 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, if you want to do a calculation, what kind of calculation you want to check? You want to calculate power of two of these, each value in the list. You run a for loop. First, you create a list. Then you run a for loop with the calculation inside, and then you print all the values in the new list, that is power. When we print it, we get the power of each values, right? For that we use 4 line of coding. But with comprehension, you can reduce this into one line. So here it is. With list comprehension, we did the same thing. We made a new variable that is power, where what we are doing, we are checking each item, each value like we did here for loop. And then what we are doing, we are calculating, doing our calculation here while getting each value. So when we print it, we get the same result. What is the difference? Here we needed four lines, though we are using just one line here. So comprehension, you can say, is a shorter version of syntax, and it's a substitute for loop, because we are not using different lines to define for loop. We are doing it in one go here. Now, for example, there is one more example. If you want to check or you want to find even numbers from the list, that is the list, previous list, what you will do? You run a for loop again to iterate each item. Then you check with the condition if I modulo 2 equals to 0. Then it will appended, or the value should be added in the list even, and then you print even here. Let's run it and check. Yes, we got the result that 0, 2, and 4 in the list are the numbers that are even. Now, if you do it with list comprehension, what you do, in the square brackets, you write the variable, then you run for loop. After for loop, you check in the if condition if the number is even. So it will go in the same sequence. First you write for loop, after that it comes condition, then you write the condition. The only thing is, think you are appending that variable here that you write in this starting. And if you print this, you will get the same result. So basically, comprehension helps your code to make it shorter. Now comes nest. If you want to run sorry, this is the syntax. This is the syntax for list comprehension, as I have mentioned before. So this is list, then here is for loop, then there is condition. When the condition is true, it will create a new list here. So comprehension does, it creates a sequence from a sequence. Now here comes nested list comprehension. So you know what nested list is. Again, if you haven't seen previous videos, that is the basics of Python. Please go through that so you can understand here things better. If you already know the basics, then this is the right video for you. So here comes nested list comprehension. So it is nothing but list comprehension with another list comprehension, as we used to do list within the list. So to iterate sublist from the list, what we do, we run two for loops. First for loop to iterate the list, and second for loop to iterate the sublist that is inside that list. Right? So here we are creating a matrix, a list. So what we did with for loop, we want to iterate. Oh, sorry, we want to add five values, five items in our first list. That's why we are running it in the range of 5. Here we are creating an empty list, or creating one more list in the matrix. And in that list, what we are doing, we are again calling 5 items, right? That is appending inside this list, right? So when we run it, yes, so 5 items has been added. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, This is 5. How it run 5 items? Because here the first for loop we ran 5 times with the range function, and here it is 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here also 5 items in there. Why? Because our second loop also we ran with the range of 5. If you don't want to do it 5, you can see here, if we change 4, it will give you 0, 1, 2, 3. So here 5 items again, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 values, because the first loop was 5 and the second loop was 4. So here the value or items in the sublist are 4. So basically we are creating list inside list. You can see this is list inside because that is closed by square brackets, and it is inside one more list. You can see that list is starting here and ending here. I hope you understand it. So now it comes nested list comprehension. How we do the same with nested list. Again, what we did, we created our first list, that is here. That is our first uh, for loop with the range of 5, and that is our second for loop with the range of 4, because it is our first list, that is empty list we created, because we didn't want to add in there, we want to add just list in there as an item. So if we run this matrix, it will give us same result, right? If there is any confusion, please let us know, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Now comes how to flatten the list. What does that mean, flatten the list? So you get a list like this, 1, 2 and 3 items as a list in the list. So this is nested list, and you want to flatten it like this. There is no list, just one list with all the items that sublist carries. So this is the matrix. Here you can see we have created a list, an empty list, that is flattened matrix. And then there comes for loop to read sublist or each item in the list. Then we are using another for loop to read each item from the sublist. And then what we are doing, we are appending all the values that sublist carries in flattened matrix. So what it will do, it will add all the values, then it will go to when it will read first sublist, it will go out for the loop and check for second value. If there is second value in the list, then it will come again and iterate each value of second list and add in there. Then it will go again to check if there is any more item. Yes, third item is there. Then it will go again to sublist to iterate each item, add in there. And in the end, what we are doing, we are printing our flattened matrix or each value inside each sublist. Let's check. Yes, so the value has been iterated and all the sublist value has been pulled and appended in a new list that is called flattened matrix, and then we can show it. So from the matrix 2D list, we have created a 1D, a one dimension list, right? So how you do it with comprehension? Here you can see we have again did the same thing. First we run the first loop to check the value from the main list. Then we run another for loop to take each value from the sublist, and we are not using this sublist here, because what it will do otherwise, it will just take sublist as an item, the whole sublist. But we want here items that in the sublist we want to iterate, we want to use those, so that's why we call item here, and with that we are appending or we are pulling all the items in flatten matrix here. So if we run it here, it will give us the same result. So I hope you get list comprehension. In case if there is any doubt, any confusion in that how to use list comprehension, please write me in the comment box and I will explain you with more examples so it can become easier for you to understand. Now comes dictionary comprehension. So as you know, dictionary is also a sequence in Python. So what we do here, we use curly braces as we use to define a dictionary. So we don't use square brackets as we did before. We use curly braces here. And as you know, we use key and value in dictionary. So here we are iterating key and value from the sequence and then create a new sequence from that sequence, right? So here how we create a dictionary from a list with comprehension. So there is a list. Again, we created a list with comprehension that has five values inside. And here, what we are doing, we are iterating each value multiplying with 3. So, and here, why is that? Because first variable, what we are getting, or the value in there, will be our key, and the result after calculation will be our value. So, if we run this, what we'll get? Here 0 is the key, 0 is the value, 1 is the key, 3 is the value because it's multiplying by 3, 2 is the value, 6 is the, sorry, 2 is the key, 6 is the value, 3 is the key, 9 is the value, 4 is the key, 12 is the value. So here one more, how you add two lists in and create one dictionary. So we used first list as num list and second list we are using days here. We are adding key as a key num list here and as a value we are using days list here. So again we run for loop here and we zip our num and days as one here. So we use zip method. If we run it, so we got all the num list numbers that is there 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the values in days as values in the dictionary. With condition, for example, if you want to check if each value in this dictionary, so this is from dictionary to dictionary, if the value in each value in this dictionary is greater than 2 or not. So here we are iterating each key and value from num dictionary with item method, and then we are checking if value is greater than 2, then it will be added in output dictionary here as key and value pair. So let's run this. Yes, so our a key has 12 value that is bigger than 2, that b value is 2 so it will not count, c is 1 that is not true, so d key has 14 value that's been there, e key has 5 value and that's been there. So I hope you understand it. If there is any confusion, please write in the comment box. Now comes set comprehension. So as you know, set we also define with curly braces. So that's why we are using here curly braces again. But we are not using key and value pair because that key and value pair we use in dictionary, not in set. So set we also use like list comprehension. The only thing is we use curly braces here. So here we are iterating each value from our num list and then we are multiplying it by number 3. So if we run it, you get all the result 0. If you multiply 0, answer comes 0. 1 multiplied by 3, 3. 2 multiplied by 3, 6. 3 multiplied by 3, 9. 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. Here, if you want to do it with if condition, so we are printing our original list first, so you can see what values it had, and then we are creating new set here with new set, and here we are doing the same thing. We are multiplying by number 3 if the number is even. So let's run it. So we can see if the number is even, then it is multiplying by 3. So I hope you get it. If there is any confusion, any doubt in that, please write in the comment box. And there is one more thing I want to say. You must be confused why it's coming like 0, 12, and 6. Why it is not coming 0, 6, and 12? Because set is an unordered sequence. So in the order, in the way you write, you define values in that, it will not give you in the same order. The order can shuffle itself. So yeah, if you haven't seen previous videos, please check the link in description box with the GitHub repository link as well is there. Please press like button if you like video and subscribe the channel so you get notification for the videos I upload recently. I hope you like it. Until see you tomorrow.